Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing on Saturday, the first. Saturday, the 1st of May. Hi, I'm Paul. I'll be your host this morning here on New Zealand Sports Radio, and some of the in the news this morning. This morning we'll have two Test matches in the cricket plus the IPL. We'll bring up to speed with how the NRL is going in rugby. We had Super Rugby Aotearoa with the Hurricanes versus the Highlanders last night, plus the Crusaders have made a big signing for next season, and we'll bring up to speed with the A-League, and also the Phoenix announced two games in New Zealand. We'll cover off on the basketball, the NBA, the NBL, and the New Zealand NBL, as well as the golf with the PGA, European Tour, and LPGA all in action this weekend. This is your best way to start the day up to speed with all of the important sports news. And let's kick off with that golf. And in the LPGA, in the HSBC Women's Championship in Singapore, and Lydia Ko had a really good second round at 4 under par, to mean that she is now 7 under par for the tournament. That's put her into tied 7th place at the moment. The two parks, H Park and I Park, both the lead at 11 under par at the top there. So Lydia Ko 4 shots behind the lead, going well in Singapore at the HSBC Women's Championship. Over on the European Tour, and no Kiwis involved in the Tenerife Open, with the German von Delsingerschen is at 16 under par after the second round, leading by 3 shots there. Moving on to the PGA Golf over in the States with the Valspar Championship, and two Kiwi golfers in action there. Danny Lee had a good second round at 4 under par to lead him at 5 under par for the tournament, and he is he's in tied at 12th place there. Just 3 shots off the leader, Bradley, at the top there, and Tim Campbell also in action in this one. Not going quite so well. Tim Wilkinson, not Tim Campbell. Tim Wilkinson also in action in this one, down in 79th place at evens at the moment. He's going to have to see where the cut falls and whether he makes it into the weekend or not. Moving on to the basketball, and in the NBA, just 6 games yesterday. A couple of the key scores there. The Nets beat the Pacers 130 to 113, and the Bucks beat the Rockets. Sorry, the Bucks lost to the Rockets 143 to 136. The Pelicans were back in action. That's right, Steve Adams' team up against the Thunder. Steve Adams, though, unfortunately, with that toe injury, wasn't able to play in this one. But the Pelicans came out firing, taking an 11-point lead in the first quarter, and they were hold on to that lead all the way through to the end, winning 109 to 95 in that one. Leading the way, Zion Williamson with 27 points and Brandon Ingram with 24. Willie Hernan Gomez, who replaced Steven Adams, got 10 rebounds and 13 points for a double-double in that one there. So good result for the Pelicans over in the NBA. That sees them still down in 11th place in the Western Conference, which is led by the Jazz and the Suns, who are already in the playoffs. The Clippers in 3rd place there. On the Eastern side, the Nets and the 76ers are in the playoffs, and the Bucks in 3rd place. But that loss means that still haven't clinched that playoff berth yet. Moving over to Australia for the NBL. Over there, no games yesterday, but the Breakers are in action tonight at 7:30 p.m. up against the Wildcats. That'll be a tough one for them, as the Wildcats sit in 2nd place currently, and the Breakers are only 8th. It's just 2nd from bottom in that one. So tough game for the Breakers this evening. Also, the 36ers will be taking on the Bullets. That takes place at 10 p.m. Over in the Sal's NBL, over here in New Zealand, 2 games yesterday. The Wellington Saints were up against the Canterbury Rams. This is the Canterbury Rams opening game of the season. The Wellington Saints having beaten the Otago Nuggets 95-73 in their first game. Wellington Saints pretty much the same score, 95 again, but to 74 this time, beating the Canterbury Rams. That's 2 wins on the bounce now for Wellington Saints. The Auckland Huskies also achieved the same thing, beating the Manawatu Jets 106-97. That means now in the ladder, it's tight at the top. Obviously, it's early days. We've only had with the Saints, the Sharks, and the Huskies all having won both of their opening 2 games. In fact, they're the only 3 teams that have won games. Everyone else has lost so far. The Hawke's Bay Hawks have yet to start their season. As you can imagine, we have again 2 games today. Otago Nuggets will be hosting the Taranaki Mountaineers, and the Franklin Bulls will be taking on the Manawatu Jets. Let's head back to Australia for our A-League action. And last night, Adelaide United and Western United FC fought out a 0-0 draw. Adelaide United missing out on the opportunity to close on Melbourne City at the top there, really. Western United, another point, sees them climb up to 5th place. And 2 points now, that gap back to Brisbane Roar, and 3 points back to Wellington Phoenix, who are trying to clinch one of those finals places. It's going to be tough, you've got to imagine, for that to happen. The Phoenix, though, did announce that they'll be playing 2 games in New Zealand this year. They'll be back at Sky Stadium on the 22nd of May, and then we'll be playing up in Eden Park on the 30th of May as well. So the tickets not quite on sale yet, but as soon as they do, I'm sure they will be selling well. So get hold of your tickets as quick as you can for those Wellington Phoenix games back here in New Zealand. Moving on then to the NRL. If you can find his tab, there it is. 2 games yesterday as the Storm absolutely thumped the Sharks 40-14 for a comfortable win there. And the Broncos beat the Titans 36-28. A bit of a surprise there. The Broncos pick up their 2nd win of the season, and the Titans slip up in a game that I think many people would have expected them to win this weekend. Into rugby news, and the Crusaders have announced a big signing for next year in Argentinian captain Pablo Matera, or ex-captain. I'm not sure if he got reinstated after those racist tweets came to light last year. But Pablo Matera will be joining the Crusaders next season. That's a big signing for them. Caleb Clark needs to decide next week if he's going to go to the Olympics, or if he with the Sevens program, or whether he's going to stay in the 15s at the Blues and the All Blacks. So we'll have to look out for an announcement next week as to what he's up to. Don't forget, we've got a historic match today at 4:30 p.m. The Blues women will kick off against the Chiefs women at Eden Park for the first ever Super Rugby women's Super Rugby game. That'll be followed up by the Blues versus the Chiefs in the men's game at 7 p.m. And then later we will have the Brumbies versus the Western Force in the elimination final over in Super Rugby AU. Last night, the Hurricanes took on the Highlanders, and in a wasteful first half, they were trailing 15-17 at half time, but really put the hammer down in that second half to win 41-22. So a big, only their 2nd win of the season for the Hurricanes in their last game of the season. There was nothing much riding on the game apart from pride. They'll take a week off as we have the Super Rugby Aotearoa finals next weekend before Super Rugby Tasman, Super Rugby Trans-Tasman kicks off after that. So a good win for the Hurricanes to finish the season on over the Highlanders. Don't forget that you can support New Zealand Sports Radio. Just head over to patreon.com/NZ Sport Radio, where you can support us for $1 a month and also get access to exclusive videos. Two videos that will be coming up are me looking at New Zealand rugby and attendance over the last 20 odd years and looking at the lost generation. Also talking about how COVID has been a missed opportunity for rugby unions. So two for your ears only supporters exclusive videos coming up soon. So look out for those over the next week. Moving on to cricket then, and in the IPL, it was the Punjab Kings up against Royal Challengers Bangalore, where Carl Jamieson plays. The Punjab Kings went in to bat first, and Rahul, the captain, batted through the innings to score 91 off 57. Chris Gale chipped in with a 46 off just 24 balls, and Barr got 25 not out off just 17 balls. Everyone else, though, went very cheaply, not even making double figures. So players either got in and scored or got out quickly in this one. Carl Jamieson picked up a couple of wickets for 32 runs off his 3 overs there in that one. So Royal Challengers Bangalore chasing that total, really never got out the starting blocks, and they lost Pandikal cheaply early on. And they had there was a partnership between Kohli, who scored 35, and Patidar, who scored 31. But after that, really losing 4 batsmen in single figures, it didn't help them. Carl Jamieson put in a cameo, 16 off 11 balls towards the end there, and Patel scored 31 off 13, but it was all too little, far too late, as the Punjab Kings won by 34 runs in that one there. Braha took 3 wickets for 19 runs off his 4 overs, but Bishnell also put the brakes on, taking 2 wickets for 17 runs off his 4 overs. So those 2 bowlers really did cause the Royal Challengers Bangalore all sorts of problems there. Moving on to Test cricket then, and Sri Lanka are up against Bangladesh in their second test. They drew the first one. Sri Lanka scored 469 for 6 in that one, putting them in a good position. Thurmane scored 140, and Koromantane, the captain, scored 118. And they put on a 209-run opening partnership. And you got to say, from there on out, it's looking like either a draw or Sri Lanka are in the box seat for that one. In the other test match, Zimbabwe are taking on Pakistan. Zimbabwe were all bowled out for 176 in their first innings. Kala top scoring with 48 in that one, as the opening bowlers Shahab Afridi and Hassan Ali both took 4 wickets each in that one. In reply, Pakistan are 376 for 6 at the moment. Fawad Alam is 108 not out there. Imran Butt also at the top of the innings, scored 91 there, and you got to say a commanding position for Pakistan in that first test match against Zimbabwe. You have now started the day. The best way to be with all the important sports news will be live straight after the women's Super Rugby game this afternoon, and also the men's Super Rugby Aotearoa game. So both the Blues versus Chiefs games will be live straight after them, the final whistle, with post-match reaction. So do join us then for those two shows this evening. Also, I'll be back at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning with the morning sports briefing.